So we are talking to Sami Ben Gharbia, who just came from Tunisia for the first Internet and 21st Century Social Revolutions Conference that we're hosting here in Madrid. And he works for Global Voices, for Nawat, and for many other projects that help empower citizens through the use of technology to give visibility to abuses against human rights and promote human rights and freedom of speech in the Middle East and North Africa region. So Sami has been very active through the recent mobilizations and before, and sometimes it feels as if the whole relationship between citizens and activists and technology in the Middle East is something new that just happened now because it's on the news now. So can you give us a little bit of background of how much work and for how many years has been necessary for us to be at this point?
Yeah, right. It's like what you said. I mean, for at least for 1 decade, people have been trying to build network, both online and offline, to connect with each other, and especially to learn from each other's experiences on how, from bypassing censorship to how to use this new information technology to raise awareness and to mobilize people around certain cause, especially around defending human rights against abuses of all kinds that we've seen. I think starting from 2000, 2001, if I can take the example of Egypt, what we've seen during the last few months after the revolution, that the internet, the Egyptian internet was ready to be mobilized and to use those platforms for political change. That wasn't like a surprise, and that wasn't the result of a few days or a few months of work. It was a result of years of mobilizing, raising awareness. We've seen people being jailed for the use of the internet in Egypt, against torture, against sexual harassment, against environmental issues. Many bloggers have been arrested for criticizing the governments or criticizing a certain practice within the political establishment or within the Egyptian society. At the point that we've seen a huge mobilization in Egypt using the mainly Facebook around the page Kuluna Khaled Said, or We Are All Khaled Said, which was like there for at least 1.5 years. And before that we've seen videos spread online mainly by Wael Abbas for years now, around the issue of torture. We've seen prominent blogger Nuha Atif with her blog Torture in Egypt, who was very active for years now, raising awareness about torture, publishing testimonies of former prisoners or people who have been tortured by security police in Egypt. So this is not new. The same in Tunisia. For a decade, activists have been active building relationship, raising awareness surrounding the online censorship. Many initiatives have been created since 2001, 2, 3, 5, until recently that the Tunisian internet users have been ready, have been educated. They saw a lot of initiatives that have been done online, and that I think explains why they were ready to use the new information technology to spread information about what was going on the ground, because they were aware about how to bypass censorship, how to protect your identity while you are using a platform, a risky platform like Facebook. So again, this is not the result of a few months of work. It is the result of years of work online and especially offline. I mean, we've seen hubs of support for activists in Tunisia or in Egypt or in Bahrain people gathering to advocate for the release of bloggers because they were friends of them. They met them in real life. They had face-to-face meetings through conferences that were dedicated to gather prominent bloggers and activists to train each other about the use of information technology, from bypassing censorship to use of live broadcasting like Bambuser, etc. So people have taught each other, they know each other, and when the moment came to support each other, they were ready to do that on social platform, because there is already established and strong network of people who know each other.
Going back to your country, to Tunisia, you have been there after 13 years. So can you tell us how has going back there been, and what's ahead of us?
Well, it was very, I don't describe it as emotional, but it was very interesting time to be back in Tunisia. Actually, for me, it was a gift that given to me by the Tunisian people, toppling this government, being able to have my Tunisian passport again and go back there to my family and friends and country. So it was, I've seen that as a gift from the revolution to me. And it was very interesting to be back while Tunisia is like living this ongoing revolutionary process. After toppling the government, people were very mobilized to refuse some figures who were sitting in the new government that came after the revolution. They toppled that government, they toppled a second government. So that dynamic of people like really wanting to achieve the goals claimed by the revolution is still going on. And well, I can like briefly describe this Tunisia. The democratic process will take time. It's a long process that needs to be established little by little. People need to feel the need of having a democratic system, and that's what's going on. It's a long debate and very intense and sometimes violent debate between people advocating for a very secular state and people advocating for Tunisia who is attached to its Islamic and Arabic background, people who have a French model, people who have a US model in mind. And the other thing is that the old guard, the people who worked under the Ben Ali regime, are not like, they don't want to lose everything, so they try to come back with a new image, their new brand, starting new political parties under other names and umbrella, but the background is still the same. They are people who worked under Ben Ali. They were a tool and old guard protecting the government, defending and advocating for that dictatorship, and now they are coming back under other names. And this is the conflict and the crisis that Tunisia is entering in, which is how to avoid having the same figures, people who worked for Ben Ali, having them again sitting in the government. And this will take time.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.